women everywhere, please start. Doesn't matter what it looks like, just start doing something.
Walking is
underrated and underestimated.
Strength training, daunting, scary. Like I'm imagining myself with some giant weight.
Don't underestimate yourselves, ladies. Everyone's a beginner at some stage. Women are stronger than they think. The very easy way to get good at your push-ups is to just, and you come down and then you relax and then you start again. And a squat is a bodily movement that we do, and it's actually very healthy for you. Been in the industry for 30 years. I do personal speaking engagements, and I really try and be the voice for women. A lot of us are time poor. We don't have a ton of time.
Welcome back, TTOMers. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Today, we're back with Amanda Thebe, author of Menopausal, and we're going to learn how to move our bodies in midlife, perimenopause, and beyond.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. I think that, you know, when I've been doing this for 30 years now, and I was always taught in my industry that we didn't need to do anything different with our body as we aged, women. It couldn't be further from the truth. And I think that you sharing this with your audience today is so great, because I really want women to know how important certain exercises can be during this time of our life, and actually to help us grow older, stronger, with independence.
Amanda, in your book, you mentioned MMR workouts. I'm pretty sure people don't know what that is.
Yeah, because I made it up, that's why. But essentially, it stands for Menopause Metabolic Resistance Training. And essentially, what I'm trying to show women is that they can do strength training that metabolically improves their body. And I mean, it gets them out of breath, it helps improve their muscle tone, it's overall good for their body on a cellular level. Using resistance training, which you might have heard of as strength training.
Yes.
Either way, it's a way of putting the body under a type of stress. And some stress is good, right? We need to talk about that. Under stress acutely, meaning quickly, and so that we recover quickly. And every time you exercise, it actually improves your whole well-being. And when you do it with weight training and resistance training at a cellular level, it's so impactful.
I feel like a lot of women, including myself, we have this conception, like, I can't, like, strength training. It seems daunting, scary. Like, I'm imagining myself with some giant weights, you know, so how do we get over that?
Right. There's a ton of misconceptions about strength training, but what I would say, first of all, is number one, women are capable. But they do go through, they may go through, when they go through their menopause transition, feelings of feeling less capable. That's pretty common. I felt it. I bet you did too. But what happens is they stop believing in their athletic ability. And that has a detrimental effect on our overall health, because it sees us lose lean body mass, lose muscle.
And we make it worse.
We make it worse by not trying things. But how do you overcome that?
Yeah.
Well, the first thing is everyone's a beginner at some stage. How I weight train might not be the same as how you weight train. We're all at different levels, but it's accessible to everyone. And I use the analogy, you know, I just saw you coming out of Walmart with 20 bags of shopping.
Yeah.
They weigh more than 2 pounds, you know. So put the little 2-pound dumbbells away. Really, we let's look at what the body actually is looking for when it looks for strength training.
And so we underestimate, is what you're saying. We're underestimating ourselves.
Don't underestimate yourselves, ladies. Yeah, exactly that.
All right.
Yeah, and actually I think it might be important to say what strength training is, because a lot of people don't even know. So strength training is working your body through functional movements. And what functional movements are, like things that you can translate into everyday life. Think picking something off the floor, getting the chips out of the top end of the cupboard, or putting your bag up in an airplane, right?
Child,
like, your Walmart bags, like any of those things. So it's moving in a functional way under load. And load would mean either your body weight or using weights in some form, or something that creates the body to go under this a small amount of stress that we're looking for.
Yep.
We're not trying to avoid that. And like I say, it shouldn't tickle. It sort of should be quite hard. But for some people, it might be hard just using their body, and that's okay. That's perfectly okay. One of the fundamental movements that most people really struggle with is a squat, a simple squat, right? And a squat is a bodily movement that we do. Think about sitting on the toilet.
Yeah.
I mean, get it up and down from a chair, and in some cultures, actually hanging out in a squat down here is how they sit.
That's kind of Yeah.
And it's actually a very healthy
It's
body.
very healthy, yes.
And so I thought I could coach you through how to do your perfect squat. And I say your because everybody's body is different. I might have longer legs than someone, and so my squat's going to look different, wider, maybe not as deep. But actually feeling what that looks like, you know, going through the movement and going, oh yeah, I understand the movement here. And once you understand the movement, then you can progress and always look to try and make it sort of a little bit harder.
Got it. And the other thing is important to talk about how we can do these things at home.
Yes.
In a hotel room if you're traveling. But I want to bring it back to home because, again, misconceptions and the idea of privilege in that you have to go somewhere for a workout, a gym membership, a personal trainer. I mean, it's great if you can do it. We're not dissing that, but let's bring it to home and what we can do right here.
Exactly.
In short periods of time, too.
And so, like, look for the minimum effective dose. A lot of us are time poor. We don't have a ton of time. What can you do really effectively in, say, a 20-minute period? And there's sort of some things we want to look for. As we get older, we lose our balance quite quickly. So we need to be looking at doing things with a single leg movement, right? We also lose power. And power is being strong quickly. And you might go, well, I don't need to run 100 meters. Why do I need to be powerful? Well, power is the thing that gets us up off the floor when we fall, right? So it's practical applications of these things. We become stiff. We become less mobile. Oh, yes. I don't know about you, like when you crack in the morning and you don't glow like a glow stick, it's and so like oiling the joints. And so actually strength training ticks a lot of these boxes because you're moving through the body, you're adding nutrients into the system. And so it's actually a really, really intelligent way to move your body. So let's look at a squat. So I want you to do your squat without changing anything.
How I do it.
How you do your squat. And I also don't want you to pick up any weights for the moment. Right. Okay. So Beatrice is going to squat up and down for a lot because I'm going to talk you through a bunch of like cues and I want you to tell me if this helps improve what your squat feels like.
Got it. Okay, so when I squat.
Okay, so that's pretty damn perfect actually. Okay, so you're going to keep going up and down. And so essentially what happens when you squat is your knees slightly press out. And it's almost as though somebody is pushing. You can just keep going up and down. Someone is pushing against your knees and you're going to push against my hand. Okay. And you can feel that when you do that, you engage the glute at the side.
Yes.
And so try and think about driving the knees out. And in addition to that, the feet need to be active. The movement starts at the floor. So almost try and pull that mat apart with your feet without moving them. And you engage your feet and you push your knees out, all of a sudden that should feel a lot stronger as an exercise. Now, the bulk of the exercise happens when you're in the lower position. So do you want to turn sideways to face me so that people can see your little cute bum going up and down? And what the part that Beatrice is working is from here to stand up.
This is hard.
That's hard. And when you stand up, that's where you're working the glutes. So a lot of people will come up and then really squeeze their bum up here. Well, there's not a lot of work happens there. The work happens down at the bottom. So you might start to get tired because we're doing a lot of it. Looking to do the movement with a little bit of tension actually works the body a little bit harder. Time under tension. So when you're going down with your feet pushing out and your knees pushing out, you've got tension through the leg, and as you come up, and it starts to get hard and your body starts to fatigue quite quickly. So you're looking for that fatigue and you're looking to work in a rep range that sort of looks like this. If I ask you to do 10 squats and you can do 10 squats really easily, then you're not working hard enough. And if you can only do 6, you're probably working too hard. Okay. You want to look to be working in an 8 rep range so that by the time you get to 8, you're going like, can I do the last 2? Can I do the last 2? Can I do the last 2? That means your body's working at a decent rate.
My heart's already.
Yeah. Well, what happens is when you do these big movements, the blood rushes up and your heart rate goes up. Okay, so you've got a really good squat there. A couple of things that I would suggest to people to do is play around with your foot position. It might look like this for you. It might be at 45 degrees. Our hip drives the movement. When you feel your hip bones, if they really stick out to the side, then your squat's going to go a little bit differently. You're going to have your feet out at a different angle. you've got a little bit lower by turning your toes out there, right?
I did.
So you actually got a really lovely squat. So ways to make this more difficult. If you're someone that's working out at home in the kitchen, waiting for the spuds to boil, and you're like, I'm going to do 3 sets of 10 squats, but they're too easy.
Yep.
There's a couple of things you can do. The first thing is to slow it down and hold it at the bottom, right? So you could do a squat now and it would look like this. Go down, hold, 2, 3, and come up. So, and do that again. And you hold it in that bottom position. Hold, 2, 3. The next thing you could do is add a little pulse, right? So you're going to go down, hold, come up 1/2 inch. No, just go back down again, come back up, and all the way up.
Oh.
So just adding a small pulse. So you go down, and then you come halfway up, down, and back up. The muscles under more tension that way. Okay, so I mean, it's just super simple ways of making something a little bit more challenging. But if you get to the point
Do that in front of Netflix while you're making the squats.
I'm
in the Amazon cart and the grocery cart and the kids registration all at once.
Fitness snacking really, really moves the needle on your health. And this is the reason why people think if they have to do 3 sets of 45 minutes a week and you have a day where you just can't do it.
Oh, then you skip it.
You skip it, you feel like you failed, and it's really hard to stay motivated. But if you look for a little bit of movement every day that's purposeful, chances are you're going to show up the next time, and you're going to show up the next time. Like,
it's the discipline mixed with the habit. I love fitness snacking.
Yes,
it's great.
It's the best.
Yeah.
And so like something like a squat paired with a push-up could be a great thing to do while you're making the dinner. And a push-up can look on the floor as a push-up, or it can be against the wall.
Okay, we'll do a push-up in a second.
Yeah.
Another thing that I find is really busy, I like to call it busy as us.
Yeah.
I mean, we hold many hats. All women do.
Yes.
Okay. They may not be the same hats, but we all have the thing in common that it's many.
Yes.
And, you're driving, you're waiting. So are there things we can do that way? Because, for some, it's driving the teenagers or the kids to one place. For others, it's because they business travel, whatever. My point is, how do we incorporate the fitness snacking also on the run?
Yeah, it's really difficult, right? And so I would just say that if you know you're in a circumstance where you really can't do a full workout and you really want to, then try and carve out 15 minutes to do something. I worked out on the roadside. I've worked out at my kids' football game. But also don't underestimate the power of just moving. Like, go for a walk, go for a brisk walk, work your cardiovascular capacity, your health, your heart health, right?
Walking is
underrated and underestimated.
Yeah.
And so I just would say, if you know you can't do a workout and there's absolutely no way you're going to do it, look to ways to incorporate some type of movement into your day, because it's the lack of movement that's the issue, right?
All right.
Okay, and so we're going to just progress the squat one more time.
All right.
You're going to pick up the weight. And you're going to hold it like a goblet of wine. That's what they call it, a goblet of wine. And so by adding a load, and in this case it's a dumbbell, then it's going to be a little bit harder for you. And so you're going to do the same movement, just up and down. And remember, when you come up, try and drive the feet apart, the knees apart, and you're going to come up quite explosively. So go down and drive up. Oop, I like it, little cute bob at the top. A little ponytail, but you can see that
it's harder.
Right. And this is a beautiful, beautiful squat. And so I was saying you could have like a small cat here or a child. I used to do squats with my kid and his baby Beyond. And so this is just another way of like making it harder. And then you could pause at the bottom.
Pause at the bottom?
Like exactly the way we progressed the other one. Hold it at the bottom and then come up. Oh, she's starting to sweat.
Harder.
So if I was to ask you to do
sweat, I'm feeling it.
To go a nice glow. And then you could add that extra pulse as well. There's definitely ways of making this more challenging based on your fitness. So you're going to be feeling this tomorrow.
I will be feeling
When you sit down on the loo tomorrow, you're going to be like, Amanda, I'm doing these squats. And so we've just gone through 6 versions of a squat.
With just a weight.
With your body
and
then with a weight. And so one day you might wake up and go, I'm going to work out. I have not got the energy to be able to lift weights up. Do a body weight squat. It's so much better than doing nothing all or something is the way forward. So let's do that.
Something is better than nothing. Let's be kind to ourselves.
Have grace. Right, so what does a workout look like? We talked about the MMR, and what I try and do is just pair up 5 exercises that complement one another, that allow you to do full body workouts, because to me, you want to work the whole body all the time. It's just a really efficient way of doing it. And I tend to do them in the book in a type of circuit. I'll say like 10 or 12 reps of 5 exercises. And at the end of round 1, I want you to try and do round 2 and round 3. But if you wake up today and you just don't think you can, and you really just want to do 1, that's what I'm saying. Like, just do 1 round and it's completely fine. Look for those wins every day. And so try and find some exercises, and it could even be 2 or 3. It doesn't need to be many, and just continue to repeat them. And all of a sudden it starts to get a little bit easier, right?
Yes.
I'd like to see you do a push-up. Now, I believe every single woman has a push-up in her. Now, I prefer not to go on the knees, but for the purposes of the video, we'll do that. But what I would
I'll try no knees.
We'll try no knees. But what I would say to anyone watching is that a push-up can look perfectly great against a wall. It can look great against the kitchen countertop.
Yeah.
Because the basis of a push-up is a bodyweight plank. And that's where you need to start. Women need to start on a bodyweight plank, knowing that their heels and their legs, their glutes, their core, their shoulders, and their arms are all engaged. This is the top of a push-up. This is the bottom of a push-up. And so you can do that against the wall. You can do that against a kitchen counter. And so try with 1, try with 2, and just see how it goes. And the reason I like to actually go down on an elevation this way, rather than go from the knees to a full plank, is to go from the knees to a full plank is a big jump.
Okay.
But to go from the wall to the kitchen counter, to the stairs,
That's a great idea.
to the fireplace, to anything is a more gradual way of doing it. But if you can't do any of those, work on your plank. Okay, so come down into a plank with straight arms in this situation, because usually I do a plank on elbows, but obviously we're going to do a push-up.
Okay.
And so what I'm going to get Beatrice to do, and she won't like this.
On my face, everyone. Let's see.
And if Beatrice needs to come down at any stage, then obviously come down and just relax in between. But I need Beatrice's core and glutes to be engaged. Oh, all of a sudden, I always say, imagine there's like a $10 bill between your bum cheeks, and I'm going to try and pull it out. You're going to squeeze the bum cheeks.
All right.
Squeeze the inner thighs and lift your kneecaps up.
Done.
Okay. Right. And then drive the hands into the floor and make them active. Don't make them passive and relaxed. Actually push the floor away. And
this is hard. I'm just letting you all know.
Yeah. And push the toes into the floor. So you almost like lift the body up a little bit.
Okay.
Perfect. And come down on your knees for a moment. So that, and just relax. I'm trying to say, because she's like shaking.
I'm shaking.
When I do a plank for 30 seconds and I shake.
I'm shaking. That was not even 30 seconds.
Because the drive from a push-up comes from a plank. And when you understand that a plank starts here and then it goes down to the floor and it comes back up again like this, then you've got a push-up. You know what a push-up is.
Okay.
So let's try it. Let's see how this looks. Even if we just get 1 out of it, this is just for
I can do it.
Because I think you're capable and you have very good body awareness. And so, like I said, anyone watching this, just make sure you do what's appropriate for you. So what I'm going to get you to do, first of all, is bring your hands back an inch. I want them under your shoulders. Most people have them too far forward. Yeah. They need to be under your shoulders.
How's that?
That's perfect. And Beatrice, you're going to take your nose here and not in between your hands, because most people will try and take their head to the floor there. Imagine a triangle. So take your nose down and then come back up. Oh, that's okay. It was actually a perfect push-up. And what I would say is a very easy way to get good at your push-ups is to just do the lowering down portion and then come back up. And it looks like this. And when you work what feels like the easy part, it's called eccentric movement. It's when your body is in, and the muscles are getting longer and you're relaxing down. That's how you build up strength. So you could start your push-ups where you're here and you come down and then you relax and then you start again.
Okay.
Come down and then relax and start again. 2 or 3 of those a day and she's going to be nailing these push-ups. Control, control, control. Perfect.
And then get back up.
Get back up. And so that's another way to sort of like include like movement in. You could do 2 or 3 of these a day.
Yeah.
Yep. And then the other thing as well is you don't have to go all the way down. You could do a push-up and just go halfway down and come halfway up. Women are stronger than they think. And what I see happens with strength training is they feel intimidated, and I completely understand, especially the idea of going to a gym. Start doing the movements at home. Start to feel confident in yourself and stick with it, because when I've worked with women, month 1 compared to month 3, they're completely different because they realize that they can, that they can do hard things and that they are strong. And so I just would say to women everywhere, please start. It doesn't matter what it looks like, just start doing something.
Through this podcast, we've learned that in midlife, it's more important than ever to get extra protein. I'm not going to lie though, sometimes we want our little treat. So if you're going to indulge in something really tasty, why not do it with a protein bar that is packed with 16 grams of protein? This is Robert Irvine's protein bar. Unlike other protein bars that are kind of chalky, this basically feels like a complete indulgent treat, but with extra protein. So if you're gonna indulge, you might as well do it with this.